Lesson 11. Coasting. What is coasting? Coasting is when a vehicle is travelling out of gear. This occurs when you put your foot on the clutch, or take the car out of gear and place it in neutral when the vehicle is moving. If you travel out of gear well before stopping, or when travelling around a corner during a driving test, you will accumulate faults. By taking the vehicle out of gear when moving, you have no engine power to help slow the vehicle down. You are then relying solely on your brakes to slow the vehicle. This means you have less control. Coasting normally occurs in manual-operated vehicles, but there have been occasions when the testing officers have witnessed drivers of automatic transmission vehicles taking the car out of drive and placing it into neutral well before stopping or when cornering. If you are driving an automatic transmission vehicle, do not do this. Remember, do not travel out of gear well before stopping or when travelling around a corner. Let's look at coasting when travelling around a corner. We'll start by showing you the correct way. The driver is about to turn left. The driver considerately positions to the left before the turn and slows down using the brakes. And now, before the turn, changes into second gear and takes their foot off the clutch. The driver continues to negotiate the bend with the foot off the clutch. The driver is also in the correct gear before making the turn. This helps to maintain the correct speed and incorporates engine braking, giving better control of the vehicle during the turn. OK, now the driver can begin to accelerate out of the turn. Let's have a look at what you should not do. The driver approaches the bend, but this time places the foot on the clutch before the bend and continues to hold the clutch down for the duration of the turn. This is coasting when turning, and this can earn you a fault. Remember this phrase: in gear, in control; out of gear, out of control. OK, we have had a look at coasting when turning. Let's have a look at coasting well before stopping. We'll look at the correct way first. The driver is approaching the end of the road. The driver starts braking about here and chooses to keep the car in the same gear when slowing down. This is perfectly acceptable. The vehicle is still in gear, which means the driver still has control. Now, at this point, approximately 2 to 3 car lengths from the end of the road, this is an acceptable distance to start using the clutch. See, the driver holds the clutch down just before the vehicle is stopped. Another way of stopping correctly without excessive coasting is by changing down through the gears. But make sure you take your foot off the clutch for each gear that you change down. This way, you will incorporate engine braking to help slow the vehicle down as well as using your brakes. And again, just before the end of the road, the driver holds the clutch down as the vehicle is brought to a stop. We'll now take a look at the 2 examples of what you should not do. This time, the driver has the foot on the clutch way before the end of the road. This vehicle is now out of gear. The brake is the only device used to slow the vehicle. This driver is coasting excessively before stopping. This can earn you a fault. Here is the second example. This time, the driver takes the vehicle out of gear and places it in neutral way before stopping, again relying solely on the brakes to slow the vehicle. This is also coasting excessively and will earn you a fault. As you can imagine, the testing officer will not be impressed if he observes you coasting in this manner. Remember, in gear, in control; out of gear, out of control.